You've been lied to from the very start. Discipline is war. It's an inner war, and in that war, you either lead your mind like a commander leads his army, or you get crushed by your own weaknesses. Most people live like broken down cities, invaded by urges, sabotaged by their own mess, easy targets for whatever temptation shows up first. They don't realize that without real discipline, without a strategy, there's no freedom, no strength, no victory. If you don't force order onto yourself, you're always at the mercy of chaos. Niccolo Machiavelli, one of history's most misunderstood thinkers, saw this clearer than anyone. It rewards discipline. It rewards the people who, even when everything around them is a mess, even when they're under pressure, keep their grip and stay in control. For Machiavelli, discipline wasn't about morals or high ideals. It was about survival. Without it, both kings and commoners fall to the same fate, ruin. And here's the cruelest part. The moment you stop ruling yourself, you give someone, or something, else the keys to your destiny. Any impulse stronger than your shaky will can take over. Life, like a throne, is never empty. You either take your seat with full control, or someone else sits there and calls the shots. If you think discipline is just about waking up early when you feel inspired, think again. If you think wanting it badly is enough to keep you on track, think again. This isn't for people looking for easy tips or comforting advice. This is for people willing to face the hard truth, to shape themselves the way a blacksmith forges a sword. Real discipline takes constant watchfulness, real strategy, relentless self-control. It means building an inner fortress where luck can't touch you and chaos can't get in. Today, you'll see why Machiavelli treated discipline like a state secret, a non-negotiable foundation for power. And if you've got the guts to put any of this into practice, you're never going to see yourself the same way again. Machiavelli didn't write to comfort fools. He wrote to train strategists, to arm the minds of those ready to face the ugly reality of power. When you look at discipline through his eyes, you can forget the childish idea that it's all about motivation or willpower. For Machiavelli, discipline is structure. It's a strategy. It's what keeps you alive. Without it, even the brightest, most promising person ends up an easy target for forces they can't control. In The Prince, Machiavelli puts it plainly. Just as good order in the military is the root of good order in the state, discipline is what lets a city or army survive tough times. Without discipline, he says, no city, no army, and no person can stand for long. All that outward order and stability, that's just a mirror of what's happening on the inside. There's no lasting victory for someone ruled by their own urges. There's no real authority for anyone who doesn't rule themselves. What Machiavelli saw, and what still scares people today, is that discipline isn't something you put on in peaceful times and take off when things get rough. It's your armor. It's what keeps a leader steady when anger, fear, or ego try to pull them off track. It's the ability to keep your plan alive, even when everything around you is screaming for you to panic. An undisciplined ruler, Machiavelli warns, is more dangerous to himself than any outside enemy. His downfall won't come from his rivals. It'll come from the cracks inside him he never bothered to fix. Acting without a plan, reacting without thinking, moving without preparation. These are the surest ways to destroy yourself. So discipline can't be a sometime thing. It has to be a habit, kept sharp and ready, like constantly fixing the wall that keeps the rot out. Machiavelli saw people as always vulnerable to being eaten away by desire, pride, and fear. Only by keeping ruthless watch over yourself can you resist the slow slide into self-destruction. And don't think this is just for kings or rulers. Anyone who wants to control their own fate needs this same discipline. If you don't rule your own mind, then your emotions, circumstances, and outside influences will. And the people who let themselves be ruled, Machiavelli says, are already finished. They just haven't fallen yet. But Machiavelli goes deeper. He compares the human mind to a battlefield. Discipline, he says, is the only thing standing between you and total defeat. That's the metaphor I want you to remember as we move forward. The inner war, fought with the discipline of a true general. Picture an army heading into battle with no training, no plan, no discipline. What do you see? A disaster waiting to happen. No amount of guts or last-minute bravery can save soldiers who can't stand their ground, can't deal with exhaustion, or can't keep control when fear hits. Machiavelli saw this as exactly why mercenary armies and weak states fell apart. They had no real discipline. In his discourses on Livy, Machiavelli wrote, "The orders of a wise captain are useless with undisciplined soldiers." It's not just a military point, it's a deep psychological truth. If your mind is a wild, undisciplined army, it doesn't matter what goals you set, what promises you make, what decisions you take. If your thoughts, feelings, and urges aren't trained to follow orders, they'll bail on you the moment things get tough. You'll end up betraying your own dreams, sabotaging your own plans. For Machiavelli, military discipline was the core of victory. It's what let the few beat the many, the weak beat the strong. A small, well-trained army was worth 1,000 times more than a huge, wild crowd. The same thing goes for your inner world. A few disciplined thoughts can accomplish more than 1,000 scattered desires. Real power isn't about how many ideas you have. It's about how much control you have over them. Think about it. How many times have you fallen short? Not because you weren't smart enough, but because you couldn't get a grip on yourself. How many promises have you broken to yourself? Not from lack of ability, but because you let tiredness, fear, or doubt take over. It's like a careless general losing a battle before the first shot is fired. You lose the war of life the second you drop your mental discipline. Military discipline means getting up every day with the same determination, no matter how you feel. It means following your strategy, not your mood swings. It's acting when you're sore, pushing through when you're drained, because victory only goes to those who don't run away from the hard path. Machiavelli understood that battles aren't won just by brute strength, but by relentless order, constant watchfulness, and by always being ready for the unexpected. The same thing is true for your mind. The world we live in today worships feelings and downplays discipline, which is why so many people feel defeated, always blaming something outside themselves. But now you know, if you want to master your life, you have to act like the general of your own inner army. Train your mind the way Machiavelli would train his troops. No mercy, no excuses, no giving in. Because on the battlefield of life, a lack of discipline is just a slow death sentence. If discipline is what builds virtue, that inner force that shapes your destiny, then you need to understand how Machiavelli saw virtu and fortuna, the skill versus luck, order versus chaos. That's what we're digging into next, how you can actually take charge of your luck by building real virtue from the ground up. If this is hitting home for you, hit the subscribe button. Stick with us, because we're about to go deeper. In Machiavelli's world, fate isn't some fair judge handing out rewards to the good and punishments to the bad. Fate is blind. It's a brutal force, like a flood that tears through unprepared towns and sweeps away whatever isn't built to last. And here's a hard truth most people never face. If you're not strong enough to run your own life, chance will run it for you. And luck, according to Machiavelli, isn't loyal. She'll smile on the bold, but turn her back on the weak. In The Prince, Machiavelli writes, "Fortune is like one of those wild rivers. When it's angry, it floods fields, knocks down trees and buildings, rips up the earth, and dumps it somewhere else. People run from it. They all surrender. Nobody can stop the force when it comes. But during the quiet times, smart people build dams and barriers." That metaphor should sound the alarm for you. The world is wild, violent, and it doesn't care about your dreams or promises. People who sit around hoping luck will save them are setting themselves up for failure. Only the ones who build their inner dams, a disciplined mind, an unbreakable will, are still standing when the storm hits. This is where virtue comes in, one of Machiavelli's deepest ideas. Virtue isn't virtue in the moral sense. It's inner strength. It's the ability to adapt, to act with intelligence, grit, and creativity when things get rough. It means acting strategically, shaping the world instead of letting the world shape you. Virtue is discipline in action. It's what lets you keep your feet when everything else is falling apart. It's how you find opportunities when others see only dead ends. It's refusing to point fingers at luck when you fail. To Machiavelli, the great ones don't count on luck. They challenge it, twist it, use it as a tool, never as a crutch. They build their defenses before the flood. They train themselves before the crisis hits. They get ready for war while everyone else is sleeping, trusting that things will just work out. Now, be brutally honest. How many times have you waited for things to magically get better? How many times have you hidden behind the excuse that it's not the right time? For Machiavelli, luck is wild, but it's not unbeatable. If you only rely on luck, you're doomed. If you build virtue, you win. But how do you actually live this out? How do you stop being at the mercy of luck and start building your own fate? That's exactly what's coming up next. The real reason most people fail miserably at discipline, and why the modern take on it is all wrong. Today, the word discipline has been hijacked. It's been turned into a shiny self-help product, packaged and sold as some quick fix. They say discipline is all about easy habits, fancy planners, tracking apps, as if humanity's oldest struggle, the fight to master yourself, could be won with a phone notification or a cute quote. That's a joke. If Machiavelli were alive today, he'd laugh at that. He knew real discipline is uncomfortable. It's not easy. It's not something you just plug into your life like an app. Discipline is pain. It's war, an all-out fight with the lazy, scared, and weak parts inside you. The reason you fail? You've been trained to chase shortcuts, told that if you just find the right habit, everything will fall into place. But real discipline doesn't come from comfort. It's born from struggle. It's not about waking up in the mood to act. It's about acting, even when your body begs for rest, even when your mind tries to talk you into quitting. Machiavelli taught us one harsh lesson. If you're waiting for the right moment, you've already lost. You don't wait for the storm to start building your defenses. You do it when things are calm. Discipline gets built on those plain, ordinary days, in the quiet, invisible battles nobody else ever sees. That's where real strength is forged. But the way people think today, failure is seen as normal, just part of the process. You're taught to let yourself off the hook, to hand yourself trophies for every tiny win. Like life's just a self-esteem contest instead of a real fight for survival. And while you're busy numbing yourself with excuses, your true potential sits there, wasting away. Modern discipline is all about emotion. It's driven by mood, by motivation, by whatever's happening around you. But the kind of discipline Machiavelli was talking about, that's structural. It doesn't care how you feel. It's not moved by motivation. It stands like a fortress, built out of stone, not feelings. If you're waiting to feel ready, or waiting for the stars to magically line up, you're living like livestock led to the slaughter, waiting for someone else to decide how your story ends. If you want the kind of discipline that builds empires, you have to do what most people never will. Let go of your need for comfort. Accept pain as part of the process, and embrace the toughness that forges real character. Your mind becomes a training ground where weakness isn't tolerated. It's hunted down and destroyed. If you understand the weight of what we're talking about, you're ready for what comes next. How to actually build, step by step, a ruthless, strategic routine the Machiavellian way. One that turns your discipline into steel. It's not enough to just get why discipline matters. You need to build something so solid that your laziness, fear, and doubt have nowhere to hide. Machiavelli said the wise leader prepares for disaster before it strikes. You need to do the same thing with your mind. Lay out your battle plans before you ever hit the battlefield. Because if you wake up every day just waiting to see how you feel before you act, you've already lost. Your win or your loss is decided in those early morning hours, long before the world even knows you're in the fight. Here's the method. First, constant vigilance, daily self-inspection. No days off. You watch your own mind and habits the way a general checks his troops before a battle. Ask yourself, where am I slipping up? When are my emotions taking over? Every little lazy habit, every harmless excuse, every minor distraction, that's a crack in your defenses. Think of your mind as a fortress. Every act of laziness is a stone pulled from the wall. Every moment of procrastination is a battering ram at your gate. Real vigilance is the general who checks his walls every single day, patches the holes immediately, and never tolerates rot. Second, clear strategy. You need routines so solid they erase the need for decisions. Face it, your brain, given the choice, will always pick the easy way. Every decision saps your energy. Every hesitation burns up your willpower. Machiavelli said those who hesitate in times of uncertainty are already finished. That's why discipline starts with killing as many small decisions as possible. Set routines aren't a prison, they're freedom. You lock in times to wake up, work, train, and you stick to them like a soldier follows orders. For example, if you leave the decision of whether to exercise until the end of a hard day, you won't do it. Your mind will talk you out of it. But if it's a fixed part of your day, non-negotiable, your brain can't bargain with you. Training happens, period. Third, relentless reinforcement. Real consequences for slipping up. In real life, every action has a price. In war, a mistake isn't a small detail. It's the line between life and death. You have to create consequences for yourself when you break your routine. Miss your commitment? There should be an immediate, real, painful cost. Maybe you make a public promise, and if you break it, you donate to a cause you hate, or you own up to friends and carry that weight. Discipline isn't just about chasing rewards. It's about making failure something your mind will do anything to avoid. Picture it. A soldier doesn't get to decide whether he feels like running 5 miles in the rain. He runs because he's under command, because failure means punishment, shame, being cast out. Your mind has to learn to work the same way. It obeys because it's the only right way forward, not because it feels good. This is what hardly anybody accepts. Real discipline means putting chains on yourself now, so life doesn't put shackles on you later. It's turning toughness into a daily habit, getting up every morning and, without any self-pity, marching toward your goal like a cold, relentless commander. And now that you know what you have to do, the real question starts to bubble up. If we all know this, why do so many people still sabotage themselves? That silent war, that hidden sabotage, is what we're going to drag out into the light next. If this is hitting home for you, you'll get a lot out of my series playlist, Machiavelli's Forbidden Playbook. That's where I break down Machiavelli's core ideas and give you the tools to understand yourself at a whole new level. The link's pinned in the comments. If you've made it this far, there's something you need to get clear on. Knowledge without action is cowardice. A lot of people will hear these words, feel the sting of truth, and then just slide right back into their old patterns of excuses, procrastination, and self-sabotage. They'll go back to being ruled by their own urges, slaves to their own weakness, begging for a little bit of luck and blaming fate when it doesn't show up. But a rare few will make the choice, the one that turns ordinary men into the commanders of their own destiny. The choice to stop being ruled and start ruling. The choice to build real discipline, not just as a decoration for your good days, but as the backbone that holds up your whole existence. Machiavelli showed us that trying to rule a kingdom without discipline is just asking for chaos and collapse. Now, running your own life without discipline is no different. Your mind is your territory. Your habits are your army. Your decisions are the battle plans. You're either the prince or you're the prisoner. There's no middle ground. There never was. Maybe you're telling yourself you've got time, that you can start tomorrow, next week, when things settle down. But Machiavelli warned, Any prince who waits for the perfect moment gets crushed the minute disaster shows up. The time is right now. While you've got the strength, while you can still build up the walls of your own inner fortress, discipline yourself. Not for comfort, not for praise, not for how it looks from the outside. Do it because your life depends on it, because your freedom hangs on it, because your greatness demands it. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment that says, "I am the prince." Make it public. Let that be the first deliberate act of discipline on this new path. It's not for me, it's for you. So you remember that mastering the world always starts with mastering yourself. And don't stop here. Keep going. The next video is crucial if you're serious about building an unbreakable mind. Every decision from this point on should be a step toward total self-mastery. Watch, reflect, evolve. You're only just starting to forge who you really are. Ever since you could walk, you were taught that discipline is all about willpower. Just push harder when you feel lazy. Wake up early. Make a to-do list. And suddenly, you'll have your life in order. While everyone else talks about staying positive or just believe in yourself, Machiavelli looked straight at human nature, cold and honest, and saw that the world doesn't reward good intentions.